The desert stretched for miles under the burning sun. Sand dunes rose and fell like frozen waves, and the air shimmered with heat. Few people ever came this far because there was nothing but sand, stone, and silence. Yet Aaron had always believed that the desert hid secrets. That belief had carried him and a small team of researchers deep into the barren land, searching for signs of what old maps had called the place of echoes. For weeks, they had found nothing but empty ground. Their water was running low, and spirits had begun to fall. On the morning of the 30th day, when the team was ready to turn back, something caught Aaron's eye. A sharp angle rose from the sand, too perfect, too straight to be natural. He rushed forward, brushing sand away with his hands. Beneath the grains was smooth stone, unlike any desert rock. It was pale, hard, and shaped with purpose. Aaron's heart quickened. "Over here," he called to the others. They gathered around, helping him dig. Soon, more of the strange surface was revealed. What had seemed like ordinary stone was, in fact, part of a massive wall. As the sand gave way, golden glimmers appeared beneath it. The wall was lined with plates of metal that shone in the sunlight, even after being buried for who knew how many centuries. The team worked feverishly, their tiredness forgotten. By nightfall, they had uncovered enough to see that the wall was not just a wall, it was one side of a vast structure. Its angle rose sharply, joining other hidden sides in a perfect point far above, still buried under sand. "A pyramid," whispered Mara, one of the researchers, her voice trembling with awe. But it was unlike any pyramid known from history. Its sides were lined with golden plates that reflected the stars when night fell. Even stranger, when Aaron pressed his hand against one of the plates, he felt a vibration, soft and steady, like the hum of a sleeping engine. "Did you feel that?" Aaron asked. The others tried, and each stepped back in surprise. The metal was warm, though the night air was cool, and it seemed to pulse faintly, as if alive. "This is no ordinary ruin," said one of the older men. His voice carried both fear and wonder. That night, the group set up camp near the half-buried pyramid. A fire burned low in the center of their tents, but no one could rest. Their minds buzzed with questions. How old was this structure? Who had built it? Why was it hidden so deep in the desert? As the night grew quiet, the others finally drifted into uneasy sleep. But Aaron stayed awake, staring at the golden plates glowing faintly under the moonlight. Something about the structure pulled at him, as if it were aware of his presence. He could not shake the feeling that the pyramid was waiting for someone. He rose from his blanket and walked closer, his steps silent on the sand. Standing before the golden surface, he placed his palm against it once more. The vibration was stronger now, flowing through his arm into his chest. For a moment, the desert faded away. Aaron felt as if he were standing in a vast chamber filled with whispers, voices too soft to make out. They did not speak words, yet they carried meaning, a call, a memory, a warning. Startled, he pulled his hand back. The sensation ended, and the desert returned. He looked around, but the others still slept. Had he imagined it? Aaron sat down in the sand, gazing up at the faint outline of the pyramid rising from the dunes. He remembered the old maps and legends that had spoken of a place of echoes. Travelers had claimed to hear voices in the wind, stories carried by the silence of the desert. Most had dismissed them as tales born of loneliness and heat. But now Aaron knew the legends were rooted in truth. The pyramid was the source. He stayed there until dawn. The first rays of sunlight touched the golden plates, and the pyramid seemed to come alive. The hum deepened, and the light reflected across the sand like waves of fire. Aaron's breath caught in his throat. He felt certain the pyramid was watching him, waiting for him to understand its purpose. By the time the others awoke, Aaron had made a decision. While they returned to the nearest town to gather more supplies and call for experts, he would remain behind. Something told him that if he left, the pyramid would fall silent again. It wanted him near, and he was not willing to ignore the call. When the group departed later that day, Aaron stood alone beside the golden wall. The desert wind blew across the dunes, carrying with it a silence that felt heavy with meaning. The pyramid hummed softly, as if approving his choice. That night, as the stars filled the sky, Aaron sat with his back against the golden surface. His eyes grew heavy, but he did not fear sleep. The pyramid's hum filled his thoughts, calming yet powerful. Just before he drifted off, a vision flashed before him, shapes of ships in the sky, light brighter than the sun, and voices echoing without sound. Aaron woke with a start. The desert was silent again, but he knew it was only the beginning. The pyramid of endless echoes had spoken, and it would not remain silent for long. The desert morning was quiet, but the pyramid was not. As the sun climbed over the horizon, the golden plates began to shimmer with a strange light. Aaron had seen reflections before, but this was different. The glow did not simply bounce back the sunlight, it seemed to breathe, pulsing like the rhythm of a heart. He placed his hand on the golden surface. At once, the hum returned, stronger than the night before. The vibration moved through his body, filling his chest with warmth. Then came the voices. They did not speak in words, yet he understood them. They carried images, feelings, and stories. Aaron saw flashes in his mind, great ships sailing through the black sea of space, battles fought with fire that had no flame, and humans standing against towering alien figures. The scenes came and went like waves, leaving him breathless. He pulled his hand back, gasping for air, but the whispers did not stop. They stayed with him, like echoes hidden deep in his thoughts. The pyramid was not just a structure. It was a memory. The golden plates held stories that no book or carving could carry. Aaron realized that this was a vault of voices, a treasure not of gold but of remembrance. He whispered to himself, "It remembers." That night, he tested the pyramid again. Each time he touched the surface, more stories flowed into him. He heard the cries of warriors, the hope of families, the songs of explorers who had walked stars long before his time. Yet one detail struck him most of all: the people in these visions were human. They looked like him, spoke like him, fought like him. But according to history, no humans had ever left Earth until modern times. How can this be? Aaron asked the silence around him. If they were human, why is there no record of them? The pyramid gave no answer, only more echoes. Days passed. The research team had not yet returned, and Aaron remained alone with the golden walls. Food and water were running low, but he refused to leave. Each morning, the pyramid grew brighter, and each night, the whispers grew stronger. Sometimes, the voices warned him. He felt their fear when alien armies approached. He saw their pain when worlds were burned. But he also felt their strength, the unyielding courage of people who refused to bow down, even when outnumbered. The silence between the voices was just as powerful. It was not empty, it carried weight, as though meaning itself lived inside it. Aaron began to understand that silence could speak louder than words. The pyramid was teaching him in ways no teacher ever had. On the fifth night, something changed. Aaron fell asleep leaning against the golden plates, and his dreams carried him deep into the echoes. This time, the voices were clear. "You are the listener," they said. Aaron stood in a hall of endless mirrors, each one showing a different moment in history. He saw battles, discoveries, and journeys across stars. The golden walls glowed around him. "Why me?" Aaron asked. His voice echoed in the dream. "Because you stayed when others left. Because you chose to listen. Few can hear us, but fewer still are willing to remain." Aaron felt a shiver run down his spine. "What do you want from me?" The silence answered first, heavy and vast. Then came the words, "To remember. To guard. To awaken." He woke with a start, the desert wind blowing cool across his face. His heart pounded. The pyramid loomed above him, glowing faintly even without sunlight. It was alive, in its own way, and it had chosen him. Aaron spent the next morning walking around the structure, mapping its edges. Most of it was still buried under the sand, but he could see enough to know it was massive. The golden plates stretched higher than he had thought, each carved with patterns too complex for him to understand. When the wind blew, he could swear the plates vibrated softly, as though carrying a song too deep for human ears. As he traced the patterns with his fingers, he felt another vision press into his mind. This one was clearer than all the rest. He saw humans, tall and proud, standing in a council chamber made of crystal. They argued about war, about survival, about enemies that would not stop. He heard them decide to build vaults of memory, structures that would outlast them, so that if their people fell, their voices would live on. The pyramid was one of those vaults. Aaron staggered back, the truth pressing down on him. If this vision was real, then Earth was not humanity's first home among the stars. Long ago, humans had already walked the galaxy. They had fought, they had built, and then they had fallen into silence. The desert around him suddenly felt heavier, as though countless eyes from the past were watching. The pyramid was not only a monument, it was a message. A reminder. That evening, Aaron sat before the glowing wall, staring into its golden surface. His reflection looked back at him, but behind it shimmered the faint outlines of other faces, human faces from long ago. "The world must know," he whispered. But even as he said it, he wondered, was the world ready to know? The voices inside the pyramid stirred again, and though they carried no words, Aaron felt the meaning clearly. The silence spoke, "Not yet." He understood then that the pyramid held its secrets for a reason. It would share them only when the right moment came. Until then, it had chosen him to carry the echoes, to prepare for what was coming. The desert wind grew cold. Aaron wrapped his cloak tighter around himself, his eyes never leaving the golden wall. The pyramid of endless echoes was not done with him. Its silence was only beginning to speak. The desert sky was clear, the stars burning bright above the endless dunes. Aaron sat near the pyramid, his back resting against its golden wall. He was tired, but his mind refused to rest. The echoes inside the pyramid had not stopped since the night before. They pressed against his thoughts, showing him fragments of battles, warning him of dangers yet to come. That evening, as the silence deepened, Aaron noticed something strange. The stars above him flickered. At first he thought it was the desert wind stirring dust into the air, but soon he realized the stars were not moving, the darkness around them was. Shapes appeared high in the sky. They were sharp, triangular, and too steady to be clouds. Aaron stood, his heart pounding. The pyramid's golden plates vibrated beneath his palm, humming louder than before, as if answering a call from the heavens. Then he saw them clearly, ships. They descended slowly, wrapped in a cloak of shadow that seemed to bend the starlight around them. The vessels were silent, moving with purpose, their forms nothing like human craft. Aaron whispered to himself, "They have come." The pyramid's echoes rushed into his mind with sudden force. Images of these same ships filled his vision. Long ago, they had arrived on other worlds, burning cities, silencing voices, and seeking to erase the memory of those who resisted them. Aaron felt their hatred, their fear of what the pyramid held. The aliens had not come to discover. They had come to reclaim. As the ships drew closer, beams of light swept across the desert, searching. Aaron crouched low against the pyramid's base, hoping the golden walls would hide him. The hum beneath his hand grew stronger. It felt like a shield rising around him, though nothing could be seen. One ship hovered directly above the half-buried pyramid. Its shadow swallowed the sand, and a faint red glow flickered from its underside. Aaron expected fire, but instead, strange symbols appeared in the air, projected like glowing smoke. They shimmered for a moment, then dissolved. Aaron did not understand their meaning, but the pyramid did. The echoes in his mind tightened, warning him. They will destroy what they fear. They will bury the memory again. Aaron's breath caught. He could not fight them. He had no weapons, no army. He was only a man standing beside a half-buried monument. Yet the pyramid seemed to answer his fear with calm silence, as if reminding him he was not alone. The largest ship descended lower, stirring the sand into a storm. The golden plates of the pyramid glowed brighter in response, reflecting the ship's lights like fire in a mirror. The hum grew into a deep vibration that shook the ground. Aaron fell to his knees, gripping the sand. Then, with no warning, a beam of light shot from the pyramid straight into the sky. It was pure gold, silent yet powerful, cutting through the darkness. The alien ships scattered quickly, pulling back as if struck by fear. Their formations broke, and they hovered at a distance, watching. Aaron stared in awe. The pyramid had answered them, not with words but with light. Minutes passed. The ships held their distance, circling like predators waiting for weakness. Aaron knew this was not over. The pyramid had frightened them, but it had also revealed itself. The aliens would not leave quietly. That night, Aaron could not sleep. He paced along the edge of the golden walls, his thoughts racing. Why had the aliens come now? How long had they been searching? Had they always known the pyramid was here, hidden under sand? The echoes whispered to him again, showing him the truth. These beings had been the enemies of the ancient humans whose voices filled the pyramid. They had tried once to silence humanity's defiance. They had failed then, but now they had returned to finish what they started. Aaron felt the weight of that knowledge pressing down on him. He was one man standing in the path of forces that had conquered worlds. Yet the pyramid had chosen him. It had called him the listener, the guardian. As the night dragged on, the ships remained above, silent watchers in the sky. Aaron stayed close to the pyramid, his hand pressed against the golden plates. Every time fear threatened to overwhelm him, the hum calmed his heart. The silence of the pyramid was like an anchor, steady and unyielding. By dawn, Aaron understood what he had to do. He could not run. He could not hide. The aliens would not stop until the pyramid was destroyed or claimed. He had to stand as its protector, even if he did not yet know how. The morning sun rose, casting light across the dunes. The golden walls shone brighter than ever, almost defiant. Aaron faced the sky where the alien ships hovered, and though his hands trembled, his voice was steady. "You will not take it," he said softly, as if the pyramid itself could hear. The echoes stirred inside him, and he felt the silent agreement of voices long gone. The battle had not yet begun, but Aaron knew the desert would not stay quiet for long. The sun rose slowly above the desert, painting the sand in red and gold. Aaron stood before the pyramid, his eyes fixed on the sky where the alien ships still hovered like silent vultures. They had not attacked during the night, but their presence was heavy, a shadow that pressed against his thoughts. The pyramid hummed beneath his hand, louder than before. It was not a warning now, it was a call. Aaron felt it pulling him closer, urging him to trust, to step beyond fear. He pressed his palm firmly against the golden plate, and the world shifted. At once, the desert faded from his sight. He stood inside a vast chamber of light, though no walls or ceiling could be seen. The air glowed with golden mist, and voices surrounded him, thousands of them, clear but layered like an endless chorus. They spoke without sound, yet their meaning filled his mind. "Do not fear. We are with you." Aaron's heart pounded. "What is this place?" "The heart of the pyramid," the voices replied. "You stand where memory becomes power. We are the echoes of those who came before you. We resisted when the enemy tried to silence us. Now you must resist in our place." Aaron shook his head. "I am only one man. How can I fight them?" The golden mist swirled, forming visions before him. He saw humans long ago raising their hands toward pyramids like this one. The golden walls responded, bending to their will, shaping light into weapons of silence. He saw waves of energy shattering alien ships, shields rising from nothing but thought and will. "You are not alone," the voices said again. "We live in the silence. You are our voice now." The chamber dissolved, and Aaron found himself back in the desert, his palm still pressed against the golden plate. But everything was different. His body vibrated with energy. His thoughts were clearer than ever before. He felt as though the pyramid's strength was flowing into him, binding him to its ancient purpose. Above, the largest alien ship shifted closer, its shadow stretching across the dunes. The hum of the pyramid deepened, and golden light spilled from the plates, bright enough to sting Aaron's eyes. The ground shook, and the sand slid away, revealing more of the hidden structure. The pyramid was rising. Aaron staggered back, watching in awe. The dunes collapsed as the golden sides pushed free, larger and larger, until the full height of the pyramid stood revealed. It towered above him, gleaming in the morning sun, its point piercing the sky. The alien ships reacted at once. Beams of red light struck down from the sky, crashing against the pyramid's surface. But the golden plates did not break. They absorbed the fire, glowing brighter with every strike. Aaron could feel the energy coursing through him, the silence of the pyramid turning destruction into strength. He raised his hand without thinking, and the plates near him shifted. Golden lines spread outward like ripples, and a beam of pure light erupted from the pyramid's peak, tearing into the sky. It struck one of the alien ships, which shuddered violently before breaking apart in silence. No sound of explosion reached the ground, only fragments falling like burning stars. Aaron's breath caught. He had not touched a weapon. He had only willed it. The pyramid had answered. The other ships pulled back, circling warily. Aaron could feel their fear through the echoes inside him. These enemies had faced pyramids before, long ago, and they remembered what such power could do. But Aaron also felt the weight of the pyramid's gift. Each use of its power pressed against him, binding him tighter to the voices of the past. He could sense their presence within him now, guiding, encouraging, but also demanding. The more he relied on the pyramid, the less he belonged only to himself. Still, he knew he could not stop. If he did, the enemy would descend and bury the pyramid forever. The desert grew still as the ships retreated into the distance, holding position high above the dunes. Aaron leaned against the golden wall, breathing hard. His body trembled, but not from fear, from the force that still surged inside him. He looked up at the towering structure, glowing brighter than the sun. The pyramid had awakened, fully alive, its silence no longer hidden beneath the sand. It had chosen him as its voice, and the enemy now knew Earth was not defenseless. Aaron whispered to the echoes, "What happens now?" The voices stirred softly, like wind across stone. "Now, the silence becomes war." The desert wind carried the words away, but Aaron understood their weight. The battle had only begun, and the pyramid's power was both his greatest strength and his greatest burden. As night fell once more, the golden glow of the pyramid lit the dunes like a second sun. Aaron stood at its base, watching the alien ships hover in the distance, knowing they would return. The echoes inside him whispered promises of strength, but also warnings of cost. For the first time, Aaron understood what it meant to be chosen by the pyramid of endless echoes. He was no longer just a man in the desert. He was the guardian of a power that could shake the stars. The desert was quiet, but the calm was false. Aaron stood at the base of the pyramid, his hands pressed against the golden plates. The sun had barely risen, yet the alien ships were already hovering above, their shadows cutting through the sand like dark knives. The pyramid thrummed beneath his palms. It had awakened fully now, its power flowing into him with a force he could barely control. The echoes of the past whispered urgently, showing him visions of battles long ago, and teaching him how to use the pyramid's energy. Aaron closed his eyes and let the vibrations guide him. He could feel the pyramid responding to his thoughts, bending the golden plates, shaping energy into something more. When he lifted his hands, a wave of light spread across the desert, invisible yet strong enough to push the first alien ship back. The vessel shook violently, and red lights flickered on its hull. The aliens responded at once. Beams of energy streaked toward the pyramid, striking its surface with tremendous force. Each blast shook the sand beneath Aaron's feet, but the pyramid held firm. Its golden plates absorbed the energy, growing brighter, almost hungry for the attack. The hum inside Aaron grew louder, and he felt the pulse of human courage flowing through him. Aaron moved his hands slowly, as if conducting an invisible orchestra. The golden plates shifted, and waves of silent energy rippled outward. The alien ships trembled in response, their movements jerky and uncertain. Without speaking, Aaron was striking back, defending the desert and the pyramid that had chosen him. The battle raged for hours. Sand whipped through the air as light met light, though no one on the ground could hear the explosions. The aliens had weapons beyond anything Aaron had ever seen, but the pyramid's power was different. It was fueled by human will, by the courage of those who had fought before him. The echoes guided his hands, showing him patterns, sequences, and angles that allowed the energy to strike with precision. Aaron's body began to tire. Every wave of energy drained him, yet he could not stop. If the pyramid fell, the memory of those long-gone humans would be lost forever. If he faltered, the desert would become a grave. The echoes reminded him of their stories, the battles they had fought, the sacrifices they had made. He could not fail. One ship descended closer, firing a barrage directly at the pyramid. Aaron flung his hands toward the golden surface, and the plates responded instantly. Invisible walls of light rose from the pyramid, intercepting the beams and sending them back toward the attackers. The ship shook violently, spinning out of control before it disappeared in a flash of red light. Aaron exhaled, but there was no time to rest. More ships hovered above, circling like predators. He could feel the fear of the aliens, their hesitation. They had fought humans before, but never like this. They did not understand the strength of memory, the power of echoes, or the will of a single human connected to a pyramid built long before their time. The sun climbed higher, and the desert shimmered with heat and golden light. Aaron moved his hands faster now, weaving patterns in the air that the pyramid transformed into waves of energy. The sand rippled, lifted, and spun in silent storms, striking the alien ships with unseen force. One by one, they began to retreat, battered and confused. The pyramid pulsed with light, almost breathing. Aaron realized that it was alive in a way he had never understood before. Its power was not just in the metal or the light, it was in the voices of humans long gone, working together with him, guiding him, lending their courage. By afternoon, the alien fleet had withdrawn beyond the horizon, regrouping for a future attack. Aaron sank to the sand, exhausted but triumphant. The desert was still, the pyramid glowing softly as though satisfied with his effort. He pressed his hand against the golden surface and whispered, "We survived today." The echoes answered not with sound, but with warmth and light. Aaron understood that this was only the beginning. The aliens would return, stronger and smarter. He would need to learn more, push harder, and become one with the pyramid if he wanted to protect it and humanity. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, Aaron stood and looked at the pyramid, towering and golden in the fading light. Its silence was no longer empty. It spoke through its power, its light, and its echoes. The war had begun, but now Aaron understood his place. He was not just a man in the desert. He was a guardian, a listener, and a fighter. The night fell, and the stars began to shine. The alien ships waited far above, their shapes dark against the sky. Aaron touched the golden plates, feeling the echoes of countless humans who had faced impossible odds. They were with him, their courage flowing into his veins. The pyramid hummed softly, almost like a heartbeat, and Aaron knew the battle ahead would be long. Yet he no longer felt alone. With the echoes guiding him and the golden walls at his side, he was ready for whatever the alien fleet would bring next. The desert lay still beneath the glowing pyramid, silent but alive, waiting for the next wave of war. The desert was calm in the early morning, but Aaron did not feel peace. The pyramid rose above the dunes, its golden plates glowing softly. He had fought the alien fleet alone for days, but the voices inside the pyramid told him he could do more. They whispered of a greater strength, one that came not from a single human but from many. By noon, a small group of scientists and explorers arrived. They had followed news of the pyramid, drawn by curiosity and the promise of discovery. At first, they were cautious, unsure of Aaron and the golden structure. But Aaron could feel the pyramid urging him to bring them closer. The hum beneath his hands seemed to ripple, reaching toward the newcomers as if to invite them into its power. "Is this real?" one of the scientists asked, her eyes wide at the golden walls. "Does it really do what you say?" Aaron nodded. "It does more than speak. It remembers. It responds. But we have to work together. Alone, none of us could fight what is coming." The group stepped closer, touching the golden plates tentatively. Immediately, each person felt the subtle hum, the gentle pulse of energy beneath the surface. Aaron watched as their faces changed from fear to wonder. The pyramid was alive in a way they could feel, not just see. Through the echoes, Aaron sensed the human's courage joining his. The pyramid responded, glowing brighter, almost as if it recognized their collective will. Images filled his mind, humans standing together, not only on Earth but on worlds long forgotten. The pyramid was showing him the strength of unity. That night, the alien fleet returned. They came in larger numbers than before, their ships forming sharp lines across the sky. Red beams cut through the desert as the fleet prepared to strike. Aaron and the new arrivals stood together at the base of the pyramid, hands touching the golden plates. The hum surged. This time, it was not only Aaron's will, but the will of everyone connected to the pyramid. Waves of golden energy rolled outward, invisible yet undeniable. The alien ships faltered as their weapons struck the shield of silent power. One ship spun violently, unable to maintain control, and vanished in a flash of red light. The humans watched in awe as the pyramid responded to their combined presence. Aaron felt the truth in the echoes: humanity's courage was stronger when united. The voices of the past and the will of the present worked together, shaping power that no alien technology could withstand. Hours passed. The battle continued, but the aliens began to retreat more often. They tested the humans' strength, but each time, the pyramid absorbed the attack and amplified their collective will. Aaron realized that the pyramid had not chosen him alone. It had chosen humanity itself to become its voice. During a brief pause in the fight, Aaron spoke to the group. The pyramid is more than a weapon. It is a memory of humans who came before us. They resisted when they were outnumbered, and their courage lives in the pyramid. We can feel it now because we are connected. If we stand together, nothing can silence us. The explorers nodded, some still in awe, some filled with determination. Together, they formed a line around the pyramid, hands on the golden plates. Aaron felt the pulse of energy grow stronger, flowing through every human who touched it. The pyramid hummed, glowing so brightly that it lit the desert like a second sun. The alien fleet hesitated. They had fought humans before, but never like this. This was not just one person defending the pyramid, it was all of humanity working as one. They did not understand the strength of shared courage, the power of echoes passed through time. As the sun set, Aaron looked at the glowing golden structure and the humans gathered around him. He understood now that the pyramid's purpose was not only to preserve memory but to awaken it. Humanity, even forgotten parts of it, had a voice that could reach beyond the stars. The aliens launched one final attack for the night, but it was met with waves of energy from the pyramid, amplified by the humans' presence. The ships faltered, damaged, and confused, before retreating far above the horizon. For now, the desert was safe. Aaron rested against the pyramid, exhausted but not afraid. The echoes spoke softly, their meaning clear: together, you are stronger. Together, you are remembered. Together, you can face what comes next. As night fell, the desert lay quiet under the glow of the golden pyramid. Aaron looked at the humans who had joined him, seeing courage reflected in their eyes. The pyramid had awakened not just because of him, but because humanity itself had answered the call. The future was still uncertain. The alien fleet would return, stronger and more prepared. Yet Aaron now knew the power of unity, and he knew humanity would not be silent again. The pyramid's hum carried through the desert, soft but alive, and Aaron whispered, "We will not fall. We will rise, together." The echoes responded, and for the first time, the desert felt like it was listening. The desert lay under a sky painted with stars, but the calm was temporary. Aaron and the humans stood together at the base of the golden pyramid. Its plates glowed softly, but the energy inside hummed like a coiled storm, ready to awaken. The alien fleet had returned, larger than ever, their ships blotting out the night like a dark cloud. Aaron pressed his hand to the golden plates, feeling the pulse of the pyramid. The echoes of humanity filled him now more than ever. Thousands of voices from the past, combined with the courage of those standing beside him, surged through his mind. The pyramid was alive, not just in metal, but in memory, in will, and in unity. The aliens fired first, red beams slashing through the desert. The pyramid responded instantly. Invisible walls of energy rose from the sand, reflecting the attacks back into the fleet. One by one, ships faltered under the silent power, trembling in ways no technology should allow. Aaron moved his hands, directing the energy with thought alone, guided by the whispers of humans long gone. The humans around him followed instinctively. Their hands pressed on the golden plates, and they felt the hum, the energy, and the memories. Together, their will grew, and the pyramid became stronger. It was no longer just Aaron, it was all of humanity acting as one. The alien fleet pressed harder. Beams of fire and metal struck the pyramid, shaking the sand, but it did not falter. Instead, it rose higher from the desert, as though feeding on their aggression. Aaron saw visions of humans from the past, standing tall against impossible odds, their courage flowing into him. He felt their strength, their determination, and their refusal to surrender. With a deep breath, Aaron raised his hands. Golden light erupted from the pyramid's peak, a column of pure energy shooting into the night sky. The aliens faltered, their ships thrown into chaos as the waves spread. Waves of invisible force rippled across the desert, striking ships with precision and power. One by one, the vessels fell apart silently, as though the universe itself had turned against them. Aaron's arms ached, and his body trembled with exhaustion, but he did not stop. The echoes guided him, teaching him to channel the power without losing himself completely. He could feel the balance shifting. Humanity's courage, united and focused, had become more powerful than the alien technology. The largest ship, a dark vessel taller than the rest, tried to escape. Aaron focused on it, pouring all the energy he could into the golden plates. The pyramid responded, sending a column of light directly at the vessel. The ship shuddered violently, breaking apart into fragments that fell across the desert like stars returning to the sand. When the dust cleared, the rest of the fleet had retreated, fleeing far into space. The desert was quiet, and the pyramid glowed softly under the starlight, as if satisfied. Aaron sank to the sand, exhausted, but the hum beneath his hand reassured him. The echoes had not gone, they were still with him, still alive in the golden metal, and still part of humanity. The humans standing beside Aaron cheered quietly. They had witnessed a power beyond imagination. They had seen history itself come alive in the desert, and they understood that humanity was no longer alone in the universe. The pyramid had shown them what courage and unity could do. Aaron looked at the glowing pyramid. He had been afraid at first, unsure if he could bear the responsibility. But now he understood. The pyramid had not only protected itself, it had awakened the memory of humanity's strength. The voices within it reminded him that humans were capable of great things, even in the face of overwhelming odds. He pressed his hand to the golden plates once more, and the hum flowed through him, calm and steady. The desert wind carried a soft warmth across the dunes. Aaron whispered, "We are remembered." The echoes answered, not with words, but with power and light. The pyramid began to sink slowly into the desert, returning to its place beneath the sand. Its duty was done, but it had left a message. Humans could rise again, stronger and wiser, and the universe would know that Earth was home to beings who refused to be silenced. Aaron stood, watching the golden structure disappear beneath the dunes. He felt changed, not just by the battle, but by the knowledge that humanity had already faced the stars before, and that it would rise again. The echoes had spoken through silence, teaching him that even quiet courage could be louder than the fiercest enemy. As the first light of dawn touched the desert, Aaron turned to the humans who had fought alongside him. "We are not alone," he said softly, and they nodded. They had witnessed history. They had felt the power of unity and memory. They had seen what humans could do when they stood together. The alien threat had been defeated, for now, but the desert, the stars, and the echoes all reminded Aaron that vigilance was necessary. The pyramid's golden hum remained in his mind, a promise of strength and courage that would never fade. The desert lay still under the rising sun. Aaron took a deep breath and looked toward the horizon. The echoes of humanity were alive, and Earth had been reminded that it was not weak. The pyramid had spoken in silence, and the universe had heard its voice.